Hello everyone, dear teachers, friends and students. It is my proud privilege to start a new poem, that is George Poem 2, which is written by Carl Wendell Heinz Jr. In this present poem, we will meet a great person, though he looks sorrowful, and we will we will be impressed by his peculiar or strange dresses and strange things. Still he wants to do something different in his activities. So let's understand. So dear children, still if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe my channel and learn so many things which will be free of cost, and you can learn more and more things, and you can get even out marks. Last year our students scored out marks in English, so you can also score by watching these videos, right dear children? So as I told, this is a fine poem written by Carl Wendell Heinz Jr. Before we start this present poem, let me bring before you about the introduction of the poet. So who is the poet? ಕವಿತೆಯನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿರತಕ್ಕಂತ ಕವಿ ಯಾರು? Carl Wendell Heinz Jr. So please open your textbook, dear children, page number 109. Carl Wendell Heinz Jr., born in 1940, was born in North Carolina. He graduated from Tennessee Agricultural and Industrial University in 1962. He completed his graduation in 1962. ತಮ್ಮ ಪದವಿಯನ್ನು 1962ರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಸಿದರು. His verses have been hoisted as some of the best by contemporary writers. So his verses means his poems are recognized one of the best poems in day-to-day poets or poets of nowadays. So what the poet wants to tell in this present poem. So we should not impress by our dress, by our things which we use. We have to see inner heart, we have to see what that person really is. That ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನ ಅವನ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ಸು, ಅವನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಅಳಿಬಾರ್ದು. ಅವನ ಹೃದಯವಂತಿಕೆ, ಅವನಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಗುಣಗಳು, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಜಗತ್ತಿಗೆ ಏನು ಕೊಡುಗೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಷಯದಿಂದ ನಾವು ಅಳಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕವಿ ಪದ್ಯದುದ್ದಕ್ಕೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಒಬ್ಬ ಹತಾಶೆ ಹೊಂದಿದ, ಒಬ್ಬ ನಿರಾಶೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವನು ವಿಚಿತ್ರವಾಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗೋಣ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ we will meet a pathetic figure. A pathetic figure means dull figure. That person was not at all active. That person was dull. Figure means person. But commanding artist. He was an artist. He was a good singer. And though he was silent in speech, that person was silent in speech means he speaks less, but eloquent in music, but very efficient, very effective, very attractive in music. Are you ready, dear children? Let us understand. Let's learn this poem. Please open your textbook, page number 105. There he stands, see, like a black ancient mariner, his wrinkled old face, so full of wearies of living, is turned downward with closed eyes. His frayed collar, faded blue old shirt turns dark with sweat, and the old necktie undone drops loosely about the old jacket, just barely holding his sagging stomach in. His rundon shoes have paper in them, and his rough, unshaven face shows pain in each wrinkle, but there he stands in self-brought solitude head. Still down eyes, still closed ears, perked and trained upon the bass line, for across his chest lies an old alto saxophone, supported from his neck by a wire coat hanger. Gently he lifts it now to parted lips, see, to tell all the world that he is black man, that he was sent here to preach the gospel, the black gospel of George. Now preaching it with words of screaming notes and chords, he is no longer a man. No, not even a black man, but a bird, one that gathers his wings and flies high, high, higher until he flies away or come back to find himself a black man again. It's a very, there is a flowing of ideas. Let me tell you. There he stands. See, the poet tells that, see, there he stands here. There he stands. How was he? Let's understand. There he stands. Who stands? George, poem 2. George 2, not poem 2. George 2 stands there. See, like ancient mariner. How was he? Look like? He looks like a black ancient mariner. Please underline. So here we find figures of speech, that is simile. Whenever you find a like or as in the sentence, there is a comparison. So here George too is compared with the black ancient mariner. That's why it is simile. Simile andre ಉಪಮಾಲಂಕಾರ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಕಣ್ಮುಚ್ಚಿ ಬರೀರಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಅದು ಸಿಮ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್. So here George too was compared to black ancient mariner. Who was that black ancient mariner? So that ancient mariner was a character in the poem The Rime of Ancient Mariner by Samuel Coleridge. So there was a great poet called Samuel Coleridge or S.T. Coleridge who wrote a beautiful poem. What is that poem? The Rime of Ancient Mariner. Who wrote this poem? S.T. Coleridge. The Rime of there we find this character, Ancient Mariner. Now we come. S.T. Coleridge ಅವರು ಬರೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದ ರೈಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾರಿನ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಪಾತ್ರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಎದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ವಿ ಫೈಂಡ್ ದಟ್ a seaman shoots an albertus, a bird of good omen. Seaman, this mariner was a seaman. ಅವ ನಾವಿಕ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಪಕ್ಷಿಯನ್ನು, ಸ್ವರ್ಗದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪಕ್ಷಿಯನ್ನು ಶೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಲ್ತಾನೆ. ವಿಚ್ ವಾಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಓಮೆನ್, ಅದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಶುಭ ಸಂಕೇತ ಹೊತ್ತು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊಲ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಸಫರ್ಸ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಪನಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ಡೀಡ್, ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್, ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಅಫೆನ್ಸ್. he faces supernatural punishment. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿನೇ ಅವನು ಭಯಾನಕವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನ ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಯಾಕೆ ಆ ಪಕ್ಷಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಲ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಹಸಿವಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಕೊಲ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಪಕ್ಷಿ ಒಂದು ಶಾಪವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದ ಹೋಲ್ sea or ocean but you cannot drink it. That's why S.T. Coleridge explained water everywhere, not a drop to drink. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ನೀರು ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಕುಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾರ್ಜ್ ಟೂ ಅನ್ನ ಆ ಮ್ಯಾರಿನರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಲಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ತರ ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದ. He was black, this fellow was black, his skin color was black. How that George II was, I think ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. ರೈಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾರಿನರ್ ಆ ಪದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪಾತ್ರ ಆ ಪಕ್ಷಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಂದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಭಯಾನಕ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾರ್ಜ್ II ಅನ್ನ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾರಿನರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಲಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ. How he was, his wrinkled old face. So that George II had a face which he find wrinkled. Wrinkled means ಸುಕ್ಕುಗಟ್ಟಿದ ಮುಖ. ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು, ಒಂದು ಮುಖ ತುಂಬಾ ಸುಕ್ಕುಗಟ್ಟಿದ ಚರ್ಮ. Wrinkled. How was his face? Wrinkled. He was old. That's why he had an old face. ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವನ ಮುಖ wrinkled, ಸುಕ್ಕು ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. So full of wearies of living. Please underline, wearies of living means he was not at all interested in ಲೈಫ್ ಆರ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್. ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೂ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. he did not have any kind of interest in life, or we can say he was not at all enthusiastic about life. ಜೀವನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವನಿಗೆ. turned downward with closed eyes. How does he walk? He walk by having his eyes down. ಕಣ್ಣುಗಳನ್ನು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. his frayed collar. See, frayed means thread in a piece of cloth starting come out. So his collar came out. The thread of that collar came out. ಆ collar ನ ದಾರ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹರಿದು ಹೋಗಿತ್ತು. Faded. So that collar was faded. ಆ ಕಾಲರ್ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಬಣ್ಣ ಹೋಗಿತ್ತು. ಫೇಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಣ್ಣ ಹೋಗು. ಬ್ಲೂ, old shirt turns dark with sweat. What was the color of shirt he wears? So George too put on blue shirt which was turned into dark with sweat. ಅವ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ, ಜಾರ್ಜ್ ಟು ಬ್ಲೂ ಬಣ್ಣದ, ನೀಲಿ ಬಣ್ಣದ ಒಂದು ಶರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಆ ಬೆವರು ಮತ್ತಿನ್ನಿತರ ಕಾರಣಗಳಿಂದಾಗಿ ಅದು ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು. ಬ್ಲೂ ಬಣ್ಣದ ಹೋಗಿ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ದಟ್ ಬ್ಲೂ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ಶರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ನ್ಡ್ black, dark black with the sweat. And how was his tie? He was wearing a tie, neck tie, that undone drops, food grain drops or food drops were on that tie. ನೋಡಿ, ಆ ಟೈ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ, ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಲವಾರು ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿದ್ವು. ಅದನ್ನೇ ತಗೊಂಡು ಮುಖ ಒರೆಸ್ಕೋತಿದ್ದ, ಬಾಯಿ ಒರೆಸ್ಕೋತಿದ್ದ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ ದಟ್ ಜಾರ್ಜ್ ಟು lives normally. So here you find beautiful words. I mean key words. How was, please underline, his face was wrinkled and his collar was frayed and he wore old blue shirt which changed into dark. These points are keywords, can help you to write summary, dear children. So dear children, you will be asked to write the summary for 3 marks or 4 marks. That summary can be asked. It is easy. Later on at the end, I will give just summary points which help you to write summary easily. 4 ಅಥವಾ 3 ಅಂಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಅಂತ ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಶರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ವಿತ್ ಸ್ವೆಟ್, ಓಲ್ಡ್ ನೆಕ್ ಟೈ, undone drops. So food drops were there on his tie, loosely about worn. So he worn that tie loosely. ಅದನ್ನ ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗಿ ಕಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ. ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಜಾಕೆಟ್, ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ವಾಸ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್, ಜಾರ್ಜ್ ವಾಸ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್. ಸೇಮ್ ವೇ ಈ ಜಾಕೆಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್, ಜಾಕೆಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಬೇರ್ಲಿ ಹೋಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್, ಸ್ಯಾಗಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಇನ್. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಆ ಜಾಕೆಟ್ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಅವನ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊತ್ತುಕೊಂಡು ನಿಂತಂತೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಆಸ್ ಇಫ್ ದಟ್ ಜಾಕೆಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಯಾಗಿಂಗ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಹೆವಿ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್. ಅವನ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹೊತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಿಂತಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಹೌ ವಾಸ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಜಾಕೆಟ್? ಜಾಕೆಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್, ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಗಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್. His how were his shoes? His shoes were run down, his shoes were torn. Shoes ಹರಿದೋಗಿದ್ವು, and shoes have paper in them. So he put paper in them to keep it comfortable. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿ ಕಂಫರ್ಟೇಬಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ತಿರುಗಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. How were his shoes? His shoes were run down, torn, and he put paper in them. His rough unshaven face shows pain. So he had rough face and he did not shave daily. His unshaven face, unshaven means he did not have daily shave, which shows, unshaven face shows pain. ಅವನ ದಿನಾಲು ದಾಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮುಖ ಏನು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನ ದುಃಖವನ್ನು, ನೋವನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. In each wrinkle, so it shows pain in each wrinkle. ಪ್ರತಿ ಸುಕ್ಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ರತಿ wrinkle ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋವು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. But there he stands, still that fellow George too stands in self-brought solitude head. He stands as if he was alone, as if he was confident. He stands confident ಆಗಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ದ. Still down his eyes. See, his eyes were always down. It means that he was humble fellow. And still closed his ears. Closed his ears means, does he do like that? ಕಿವಿಯನ್ನು ಮುಚ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? He doesn't care for other words. He doesn't care for the words of people. ಜನರು ಅವನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. He never cared for words of people. Perked and trained upon. So he was trained upon the bass line, for across the chest lies an old alto saxophone. See, he was holding a musical instrument. Musical instrument. That is ಸೊ ತನ್ನ ಕುತ್ತಿಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ ಎದೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸೋಫೋನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಈ ತರ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸೋಫೋನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಚಿತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ತರ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊರಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ. ವಿಚ್ ವಾಸ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್? ಓಲ್ಡ್ saxophone. Supported from his neck by a wire coat hanger. How did he wear it? He tied that musical instrument, old saxophone, with wire. With wire he hold it. He tied it. Wire and the kattidda. Coat hanger. Gently he lifts it now and parted lips. See. So whenever he wants to sing, he lifted that. ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತ musical instrument, musical play ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ, ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. Tell the world that he is black man. He tells the whole world that he is a black man. ನಾನು ಕಪ್ಪು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ. Still my skin color is black, but I am not black at heart, he says. This is the real meaning of that word. ನಾನು ಚರ್ಮದಿಂದ ಕಪ್ಪಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರ ಹೃದಯದಿಂದ ಕಪ್ಪಲ್ಲ, ಗುಣಗಳಿಂದ ಕಪ್ಪಲ್ಲ ಎಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಗೂಢಾರ್ಥ ಅಲ್ಲಿದೆ. There it seems that though his skin color is black, but he was not at all black. He was not at all black at heart. It means he did not have bad qualities with him. That he was sent here to preach the black gospel of George. So here you can be asked one question: why did George too was sent to this world? So he himself tells in his music that he was sent to this world to preach the black gospel of George. Underline, preach the black gospel of George. Preach andre teach, kalisu. Black gospel ಹೊಸ ಶಬ್ದ. Gospel ನೋಡಿ, types of religious music in which religious songs are sung loudly. ಇದು ಒಂದು ರಿಲಿಜಿಯಸ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್, ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಸಂಗೀತ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಹಾಡಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಧರ್ಮದ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಹಾಡಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. We can see such gospels in Bible. We can see such gospels in Bible. So that George too sings those gospels, now preaching it with words of screaming notes. Screaming notes means screaming sounds, means loud musical sounds. He sings it with loud music sound. ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ನಿಂದ ಸಂಗೀತವಾದ್ಯಗಳಿಂದ ಹಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. Screaming notes, chords with loud sound. He is no longer a man. When he starts singing, he doesn't seem a man. ಅವನು ಹಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಅಷ್ಟು ಮೈ ಮರ್ತ್ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದ. No, not even a black man. So he loses his thinking that he was a black man. ತಾನು black man ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಮರ್ತು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದ. But a bird, he becomes a bird. So whenever he starts singing, he becomes a bird. It means that he sings such beautifully. So he doesn't become bird there. Literal meaning we cannot take literal meaning. ಶಬ್ದಶಃ ಅರ್ಥ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. So whenever he starts singing, he sings like a bird, as if lark sings, as if cuckoo sings. In that way, he starts singing. One that gathers his wings and flies. So he gathers his wings and flies. How does he fly? He flies higher. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸಂಗೀತವನ್ನು ಮಧುರವಾಗಿ ಹಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ, ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಮೇಲ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿ ಹಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ. He sings higher. So what does he become when he starts singing? He becomes a bird. Until he flies away. Until he flies away means until he completes his music, he sings. Or come back to find himself. At last he comes back a black man again. At last he becomes a black man again. It means that whenever he starts singing, he lost himself. He was lost in his music. So this is the quality of music. Real music, in real music, singer lost himself. So music has such power. Music has such authentic power to make the singer lose himself and get lot of enjoyment. In this way, the poem ends. So what is there in the poem? Here, the poet Carl Wendell Heinz Jr. sketches or give the physical sketch of George poem too. Our ದೈಹಿಕ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದ್ದ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕೋಟ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಕಾಲರ್ ಇತ್ತು, ನೆಕ್ ಟೈ ಇತ್ತು, ಶೂಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಅವನ ಮುಖ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಇವ್ನು ಹೇಳುದ್ರ ಜೊತೆನೆ ಅವುಗಳ ಕಡೆ ನಾವು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಯ ಕೊಡದೇನೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಏನ್ ನಿಜವಾದ ಗುಣಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬೆಲೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಗುಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕವಿಯ ಆಶಯ ಇರ್ತದೆ. So I think, dear children, you have got good information about this poet and this poem. I have tried my best to explain you, to facilitate, to guide you in this regard. So read this poem once, twice, watch this video once, twice, and write answers to the questions. So I think long question can be asked, summary question can be asked on this chapter. So let's learn how to write a summary in simple ways. Even a normal learner, average learner of 10th class can write a summary and get 2 marks just writing 6 to 8 lines or 4 to 6 lines. What will be the first line? Writer, about the writer. Summary points. It is a fine poem written by Carl Wendell Heinz Jr. The poet gives physical description of Josh 2. Josh 2 is compared to ancient mariner. Next, he had wrinkled face and tired of living. It means that he was not interested in life activities. He had faded blue shirt which was turned into dark by sweat. Next, his tie was loosely worn and food drops were there. Food drops were there. Next, his old Jockey was holding his stagging stomach. Stagging stomach. His shoes were torn and he put papers in them. His every sorry he holds musical instrument hold alto saxophone. He came to this world to teach black gospel. He becomes a word when he starts singing. In this way, dear children, please try to write in your notebook and at least have some key words. With the help of those key words or sentences, you can easily write summary at least 5 to 6 lines and get 2 or 3 marks easily. If you write practice it at least half a page or 1 page, really you will get 4 out of 4 or 3 out of 3. So dear children, pause your video and note down. So this is a suggestive way to attempt or try to write summary in your own way. Summary means trying to write that incident are happening in that poem. Okay, please pause your video and note down. Okay, so thank you, dear children, for learning together a beautiful poem, George poem 2, which can give you 4 marks or 2 marks in your examination. Please do not neglect it. Do not forget to get out marks. It is a very easy poem, dear children. So thank you very much for your giving your valuable time, dear teachers, friends, and students. Still, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe my channel and if you find my videos are good, please give me your like so that it can help me in future. So thank you, take care. Let's meet in next video with a new topic. Still then, take care. Bye.